So, buongiorno, Andrea. Thanks for being with me. We are here.
Buongiorno.
So I try. That's the only thing I can say in Italian. Sorry, but we are here to talk about practice methods and basketball coaching. So, do you want to introduce yourself a bit to start with?
Okay. The very first thing is buongiorno a tutti. That means hi to everybody. And sure. What about my career in basketball? I played basketball since I was 10, and that now I'm 28. Um, that's a long journey as a player. I I mm, I really born um, as a coach in my player's career. What I mean is that I really struggle as a player, and this led me to go deeply and to understand what uh, what was it into the game of basketball. That's because then when I studied, I understand that I always played in what we can call a traditional approach, and this led me to become a player who is always driven and uh, and like that coach always controlled me, and I need that because I never developed an an autonomy. I never was in the right context to develop this important skills as a player. So now I play various levels of basketball, and last year of my youth program, I played even at the national level. I, this never never led me to become a real autonomous player. So now life led me to coaching. I studied motor science and sports science, and now I completely understand that I can't let players uh, to prove and to go through what I went through. Cause I never really become a player. I never really enjoy the basketball so much. Cause the environment I played wasn't right to to become a real basketball player. And so now the journey will become really, really interesting because there's a lot of I understand that I have to do a lot as a coach to change this environment because the traditional approach in Italy, especially in Italy, is is everywhere in every sport, and we as Italians are soccer based sport, but um, the problem is that uh, all coaches continuously coach as they has been coached. So this need a change in need a new view of the thing. And so now I keep studying. Now I graduated at the University of Bologna, and now I'm enrolled in S&C College, that is a revolutionizing college in Ireland, and that is based that is completely transforming the strength and conditioning, but team sport coaching too. So now I'm really fortunate because I'm finding everything I wanted as a player, and I'm trying to give it to my players.
Thanks. Very interesting. So yeah, you're still studying in Ireland. Okay. I didn't know that. And yeah, that's the thing we're here to talk about, how to develop players and how to get new skills and motor skills, especially. So you seems to be the specialist I wanted to talk about, to talk with. So grazie. So I have a first question. So about skill acquisition. Because you talked about a traditional approach when we think like we think you have to repeat the same technical movement and same skill every day for thousands and thousand times um, without changing anything like robots. So now it seems with ecological approach or some new different and yeah and different knowledge that you may acquire a skill differently. So do you have some infos about how the thing works to get a new skill, and do you ever get a skill?
Yeah. Firstly, I want to tell you a story of my player's life. Um, Once I not a regular room in my room, my personal room, because I mm, I reached the height of 3 meters in my room, and when I was 17, uh, 18, I'm I'm keeping scoring and shooting on my room. So this I want to share this because um, I was completely committed in basketball, and I keep shooting, shooting, shooting. One day I shot 1,000 reais throws. Um, that's and that's a lot. Um, I put 7 hours of a day doing that. But what the strange thing is that all these hours of shooting didn't bring me anywhere, and I continuously struggled in shooting. Um, this because I'm always training 1-on-0, and this is not the right approach. I'm understanding this, and this because skill is always related to the context and to the environment you are applying it. So what I'm now understanding is that there is no muscle memory, and I don't need to repeat the same movement um, because no movement is the same at different time. I'm changing, and every player is changing. So no one is the same at different time. So this um, this interact with skills and skill repetitiveness because um, no skill can be the same at different times. So I believe that this kind of approach and this side on motor skills and skill acquisition is influenced by how we see computer because um, we um, we usually consider humans like and our athletes as computer, but we can't put and USB on them and transfer all the skills we want. But sometimes we are like this, and but our brain can't recollect skills and reproduce in this environment because our brain is based to work differently. I believe that we must remember and we must return to be animal again. We are animal. We can think, but we are animal. And animals, I believe animals in savannah, like lions, uh, they are they are they act basing their action on perception and action, and not to read, choose, and choose what to act like a computer. I understand that it's easy to think like a human as a computer, but it's not real. It's not real, and we work in a different way. So um, if we want to go deeper in skill acquisition, we have to treat skill in a different way, and to firstly understand how and firstly what skill is. I believe that skill emerge from environment and from the interaction between the athlete and the environment. So and that is what happened in nature. Like a lion start and want to eat a gazelle. Uh, it doesn't think about it. It's just acts and just start following the gazelle to eat it. Um, And when we teach, for example, basketball to our athletes, we act differently. We start instruct them on and meticulously explain them everything about basketball. But what remains is nothing. It's nothing because the players are young. They have different in different topic of interest, and they think about something else. They're not interested in knowing deeply what basketball is. They just want to play basketball, and we must create the right environment to let them play basketball. This is the game changer in skill acquisition. There are two main approach that pass to do this. I believe that the conference-led approach completely completely change the way a coach can drive a practice. This because with a constraints-led approach, I can manipulate the boundaries where where my players search and explore their movements. And a constraint is something that let me as a coach to redirect players' attention and purposes. So and it can redirect their attention to what I want, and they, even if they don't know about it, uh, I'm always reach my goal too. They don't need to know the theory or the reason I put some constraint. Maybe not at the beginning. I don't need to tell them what to do. I create the environment to drive them to do what I want they do. That's what I think about skill acquisition, and I understand, returning to my story, that I didn't get this opportunity, and we must create opportunities for players in order to let them explore, and by exploring, understanding their skills, and that their skill can emerge from the environment we create, course. That is.
That's a lot of interesting concepts you have for skill acquisition. I like the thing with it changed the posture of the coach. When you were playing and when I was playing younger, the coach knew everything, like shoot like this, or no, you better shoot like this, or lay up like this, put your hands here, finger here. And now it seems we better, as you say, create a context. And I really like the way you use create opportunity. The skill comes from the context, and we create opportunities to for the player to make skill emerge. So I really like the idea, and it's changed everything for us, I think, us coach, because we don't know how the player will react. Maybe the player prefers to shoot in layups or in push-ups for close to the basket. You never know. It depends on the moment, on the where the defender is, the stress, the everything can happen in a game. So yeah, I really like the way to to teach like this and create context and opportunities. And I think as a player, I would have preferred to always play, a small-sided game, 2-on-2, 2-on-1 plus one defender, 2-on-1 just scoring the paint, 2-on-1 maybe just score with one pass at three, everything you can imagine. But yeah, I think it's very, very fun to play like this. You need to be at the top of your possibility. You can't just walk to beat your defender. And I think it's a great way to develop player and in some ways. So yeah, it's very interesting about the coaching job, because it changes
Yeah.
a lot the job. You don't have to be a specialist on the biomechanics and thing, because it does not fit for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It is. I'm I am understanding that uh, I'm doing this job as my primary job, and this is my career, and I use my time to continuously improve myself. Um, the biggest problem is in Italy, for example, um, is that sports um, and s- sports coaches, not only for basketball but even for other sports, um, mm, they don't work in sport as any other job. It's not the same. It's a second job. So so the biggest problem is that the easiest thing to do is to coach, um, as I was coached, uh, or maybe um, I was a player and I start coaching, and that's okay. I just repeat some exercises. So what you said is really true, because um, as human we we want to control everything, and what what let us to uh, do more steps to improve ourselves is sometimes to uh, let uh, things a little uncontrolled, um, even especially for players to promote their autonomy. We have to let them a little uncontrolled, and but to let them uncontrolled, I need to understand that I created the right environment with the right boundaries, a safe zone where I know that they can explore safely and purposefully. But if I don't know that, if I don't know the theory, the ecological dynamics and the dynamics in theory, um, if I don't know all of that, uh, I understand that a coach may struggle with that, may struggle to let players a little uncontrolled, and to open to their unicity, and and so the easiest thing to do is to tell players, oh, shoot is a 90 degrees form or something like that, because I can control that. So that's a problem. But what I understand is that, as you said before, if I use an environment like this, I create more joy and more engagement in players, and also they'll retain their skill more and become more adaptable and more skilled. So, but in conclusion of this, of what I'm saying is that um, we, especially in Italy, where we are a little poor in ecological dynamics, I need that we must work on coaches' consciousness about this, because I understand that coaches do this. A lot of coaches do this as a second job, but we have to promote this approach and explain it to them in order to create better players.
Yeah, I think that's the point. And the main thing I can remind me of when you are talking about this is that for coaches, when you don't control the thing, it's a bit frightening. You can be afraid of, I don't know when he will improve in shooting. I don't know if this work for 2 weeks or 4 weeks. You really never know when it will emerge. So I understand it's easier and softer for us to say, okay, you do 50 shoots like this and you will improve by 2% for shooting or something. So yeah, that's the biggest part I think so, for coaches to use the traditional approach as a better way. We are like robots. We do this and we improve this. Yeah, it's like logical and controllable, so less frightening, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have another question maybe about this, because we answered the two first. So if we are a bit more specific, do you have some example of how you work with players on some specific skills? Or we talked about shooting or dribbling, for example. Do you have infos or some little things to say about this?
Yeah, I believe that, as we said, as coaches, we have to open to variability as a coaches, and open this variability. Let us open, yes, variability. I believe that I can create better players, letting them explore. And specific approach to let players explore is differential learning. Um, I uh, um, I believe that with differential learning, I can create a wide base and open players' degrees of freedom. So players will have um, a greater intrinsic space of action. So they can have a better knowledge of themselves too. Um, I usually I completely change my warm-ups for example. I am a strength and conditioning coach firstly, so I'm a little obsessed with technique, and she taught me instead. But I in the months I started to transform my warm-ups. I don't do warm-ups anymore in a traditional way, but maybe I let players play football or handball or something related to multi-sport. That's because that will drive players to open up the degrees of freedom of their joint and to do something they maybe not do, and open their uh, joints to movement they maybe will not do in basketball. So this is a little in contrast with the main goal, but I understood that in reality this will support my main goal. If I want to create better shooters, I need athletes that are more open and wider degrees of freedom. For example, if I have a rigid athlete with some rigid patterns and that's always shoot in the same way, when a defender stops this way, this athlete is dead. He can't do nothing more. So by differential learning and warm-up activities like that, I let player explore something else, and this will let them to 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 base and to discover new strength and new points where they can base and develop their skill. Another so I go forward with maybe some differential shooting activities, like shoot on one feet and then on the other, or maybe do a 180 turn and then shot. This will create more experience in players, and this experience will let them to create more adaptability, because the ability to adapt is crucial in shooting, because as we said at the beginning, we are never the same and every shot is never the same, so we have to adapt every time. Another things I do is conference-led approach, and I can always create boundaries for my players. For example, if I have problem, for example, some weeks ago, I had a problem with my team. They all players aren't engaged in defense. They were very lazy. So I'm on the point to start screaming and pushing them to the line. But I stopped, and I thought maybe I haven't created the practice in the right way. I haven't created the right boundaries for them. So I simply modified the constraint of my practices. I simply add um, another way to win. And if they still support in defense, then they'll automatically win. And 2 seconds later, they started to be very aggressive in defense. So this is a simply way to see how can modify concept in practice to let players where I want them to go. Another example is on shot selection. If I say I see that players shoots in maybe sometimes there is the player which always shot, and others that mm, that haven't the opportunity to shot even once. So sometimes I add a constraints that add an automatical win to the team that let a specified and that I call a jolly player to score. If this player score, then his team automatically win. This helps all the team to redirect their attention and their opportunities. Or another way is to give more points. Maybe if the team score in the smile. So this way I'll avoid them to keep scoring from beyond the arc. If I want, if I don't want they shoot from that. So this these are simple constraints. That's nothing special, but these constraints require that the coach is always present the practice. So I don't have a too strictly pre-planned practice, but I'm keeping modifying the practice during itself, and very important because I have to interact with players and interact to their way of to interact with their behaviors. So I can have the opportunity to redirect them and to push them where I want to push them, where to push them to my goal. So I believe that context-led approach is very helpful in doing this. Lastly, I want to cite a paper, a very recent paper from 2025 that is related to metaphors and to differential learning. These authors that are Gorman and Maloney say in their paper, the shooter created interpersonal coordination between themselves and the defender, and also how they consequently adjust their technique to produce a successful outcome. So I love the interpersonal coordination. We always talk about intramuscular or intermuscular coordination. So a coordination that is always related to the person itself. But basketball is about people, not a single person. So we must think about a more complex system, a more dynamic system, like dynamical system theory support. And we always create practices to thinking about this interpersonal coordination. That's is the main point of the concurrence-led approach that is the tool that every coach can use to create the environment, to create your savannah, to let your animals, your players, to develop the better way. I believe that this completely changed the way a coach can coach, and this is more funny.
Yeah, I think that's crazy because you're talking about interpersonal connection for emerging the skill or the adaptation. That's a bit very new to understand, and yeah, to teach, or you have to consider this. So I'd like to read your article when it's done, because I read a lot, on differential learning and how the defender may change your shots. But yeah, we have to consider this in the practice, I think so. And so you have one tip you gave us like this to consider the CLA and to use scenarios and how the defender may be aggressive on the offensive player to make him emerge his skill. For example, do you have another tip you want to share with, if you have one tip for coaches to make them improve in the practice and in the end develop their players' ability, what would it be?
I want to say that the most important things I live every day is to transform yourself as a coach into a gardener. What I said before, you have to create your savannah, to create the right environment. Practice is not about exercise selection, but it's about environment creation. So as a coach, I have to create this environment and to take care of this environment constantly, like it is a garden. And in this environment, players can explore, can go and live, and that's is my court. And it's a court where players play. So I suggest to not focus only on exercise. Maybe exercise is a good framework to start, but it's not the main goal of a coach. The main goal of a coach is to let players explore, let players leave the court, not simply follow strictly rules. I say them, but to explore and show their personality, their unicity to in the sport. And that is not something I can control. It's something they have to show. And each player will show something new. I have to uh, let them do simply. Um, so be gardener, be gardener. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I really like the image of you have a small plant to let's go. I put the plant and I don't know if it will work and if it will grow. So yeah, just put it, create the garden and let it go. That's the thing that's a bit frightening, maybe, as I said, because you have to adapt. You said before, during the practice, the constraint doesn't work or the attitude you see does not fit. So you need to correct the context, and then the things will emerge. So yeah, that's very interesting about the concepts you developed with us, the posture of the coach, the tips, and the thing you do on your practice on the court, even with reinforcements of the science. So that was very interesting to talk about this with you. Grazie mille, Andrea. Um,
Grazie a te.
do you have a word for the end, maybe, or because I'm sorry I have to leave, but maybe we can do another talk later because that's very interesting and fun. So yeah, if you have the
Thank,
last word to say, maybe if you want.
thank you so much for this invite, but because it's my first cast in English, so I am sorry too for my difficulties in English, but that's clear. That's translate approach from fish. Uh, uh, so I and this is the last things I want to say. We we can't only do country-led approach with players too. We can do country-led approach and apply it to us, to our life, and to be coaches too. Um, for example, I can put myself in the condition, the environment where I can explore, like this podcast, like this episode for me is a really environment to explore my English, for example. So thank you so much for this opportunity, for for this environment, for this content-led approach you used me.
Yeah, that's the same thing for coaches, as you said. Yeah, the end. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, bye bye.
Bye bye, see you. Grazie mille.
Grazie.